Greetings, fans, and welcome to tonight's Broncos Broadcasting Network volleyball contest in a battle of the undefeated, as the 2-0 Davenport Broncos host the 4-0 Lakeland Christian Vikings. I'm John Chigaris. Aiden Bullaran will join me in just a moment. And what a season it has been for both of these undefeated teams. The Broncos were last in action this past Tuesday night when they hosted the Haines City Hornets. Aiden, what happened in that game?
Last time out, the Broncos were led by Amanda Mauger with 8 kills and 2 aces while being assisted by Gabriela Sanchez, who had 9 aces, a season high for her.
And Sanchez now leads the team with 11 aces. Switching gears over to Lakeland Christian, this season they have defeated Santa Fe Catholic 3-0, Discovery 3-2, Victory Christian Academy 3-1, and what happened this past Monday against Foundation?
Lakeland Christian is coming into this game off a victory over the Foundation Academy Lions. Mackenzie Ash led the Vikings with 9 kills and 4 aces while being assisted by Jaden Badagitla, who had 6 aces. On paper, it seems like this will be a competitive matchup as both teams hope to add to their win streak.
And just adding on, that senior Mac Ash leads the team with 17 aces and 32 kills on the season. Some unbelievable numbers she is putting up in her senior season. The Broncos are still in first place in the newly redeveloped 5A District 6 division. They are 2-0. Lake Wales has moved up to 4-1 after defeating Ridgeview Global 3-2 on Tuesday night. Auburndale is now 3-1 after defeating Haines City 3-1 on Monday. Zephyr Hills is 1-1. Gateway is also 1-1, as is Lake Region. Pasco is 1-3. And Life Christian Academy have their first game tonight as they travel to Kissimmee to face Southern Christian. Lakeland Christian currently leads the 3A District 9 volleyball division with their 4-0 record. In 5A District 6 games tonight, we already mentioned the Broncos, Vikings, and Life Christian Academy and Southern Christian. 1-1 Gateway will host 0-3 Mater Brighton Lakes Academy. 3-1 Auburndale will host Fort Meade in their first game of the season. 3-1 Discovery hosts 4-1 Lake Wales. Both teams are on 2-game winning streaks. 1-1 Lake Region hosts 0-1 Kathleen. And finally, 1-1 Zephyr Hills travels to Lando Lakes to face the 0-2 Gators. These teams last met in a preseason game when Davenport won in straight sets in a best-of-3 preseason contest. We'll pause for the national anthem. When we come back, we will have the first serve between the Vikings and Broncos. Stay tuned. And just like in the JV game, this gym is absolutely fired up for this battle of the undefeated. Second time these teams have met. As we mentioned during the opening, these two teams did meet in the preseason, in which the Broncos did win that game 2-0. But totally different environment when you're talking those exhibition games during a regular season game.
Broncos definitely trying to carry the momentum that they had last game as they won 3 straight sets against Haines City.
And the Broncos on the season have had a few tests already. They were able to take care of Sebring. Here is that next major test. And this is exactly what we wanted out of this team when we saw how they performed last year, being that first team in Davenport High School history to go to a state tournament. Once you get that, you're going to start to face higher competition. And the Broncos were able to bring that entire team back.
Lakeland will get the serve to start tonight. Number 15 for Lakeland will serve.
So Logan taking her time as the last instructions are going through with the scorer's table. Both teams in white tonight. Whistle is blown. Logan dribbles a few more times. She is off, and the set is off at 8:04 p.m. And that kill will land just like that. Lakeland Christian up 1-0. This is one thing we did see in the game against Haines City on Tuesday night. Haines City was able to jump on top early, and the Broncos were able to come right back. As Logan gets ready to serve again. And Hernandez getting that ball over to propel the Broncos to tie it up 1-1. A nice spike there by the Vikings to make it 2-1 in their favor. Broncos making quick substitution as Felice comes in. Perez will take a rest. Mackenzie Ash isn't able to save that one. Broncos tie it up 2-2. And if you're the Broncos, that is definitely the player you do not want to play fire with, because Mackenzie Ash has been incredible in her 4 years with the Vikings. As you mentioned during the opening, how many aces she has? 17 on the season and 32 kills.
Sarah Hernandez will take the serve for the Broncos.
And Manger serves it right into the net, or spikes it into the net. Vikings now on top 3-2. Lillian Jacobs will go ahead. She will take the serve for the Vikings. And Manger able to get that over to tie it up at 3-3.
Broncos making a substitution. Feliz coming out and Perez coming in.
And Ongaro will also check in. If she comes in, Manger will take a rest.
Ongaro will also take the serve.
That one's just going to go long. Point for the Vikings. Vikings now on top 3-4. Manger will check right back in.
Lakeland making a quick substitution.
That's Batagalia who will come in. Stella Lee will take a rest. That one will sail out of bounds. Lakeland Christian's point. It is now 5-3 in favor of the Vikings. Point come for the Broncos. They will reset, and Hernandez will go behind the line to serve. The Rory will check in as Cologne will take a rest for the Broncos. Into the net, that one goes in. We are tied up at 5, so Aiden, back and forth we go, back and forth.
Saw this a lot last game against Haines City until the Broncos took a lead.
And that one just clips the line. Excellent serve by Hernandez for the ace. Broncos up 6-5.
Hernandez putting the ball right where she wants it on that perfect serve, perfect ace.
And that one will sail out of bounds 7-5. And Hernandez, the last 2 years, she has been one of those 3 magic servers for the Broncos that has been able to get momentum going. And the Vikings strike back. Now a 7-6 game here in the first set.
Hernandez will take a break, and Captain Cologne will come in.
And Valenti with a great serve, but an even better return for the Broncos as they go on top now 8-6. As Sarah Hernandez will check back in.
Gabrielle Sanchez will take the serve for the Broncos.
And Sanchez has looked so good behind the service line this season. And there's why, another one that's not able to be returned. 9-6 Broncos.
She looked great last time out with 9 aces.
And it wasn't that third set where Haines City tried to make it a game. Sanchez came up to serve, and the game just got put out of play. And look at that spike right there. Hello, Perez, 10-6.
Sanchez will continue to serve.
Perez coming out of her shoes for that kill. Quick substitutions for the Vikings as Billow will come out. And Addison Walker pounding the ball, getting ready to serve. And again, Broncos fighting right back to get that point, back up by 4. It's now 11-7.
Perez will take the serve for the Broncos. Ball does not clear the net on that return. Broncos take a 12-7 lead.
This is when Perez is at her most dangerous. That whistle blows, and then she's taking an extra second or two to dribble the ball to get her composure before serving. One thing we saw in that Sebring game, where here it is that first game of the season, you have those yips, you want to get all this momentum going. Here she had the ball, and she instantly tried to serve, so she played outside of her game. As we have a timeout called by the Vikings, Broncos on top by a score of 13-7. And it's all come down to the service game, first by Sanchez and now Perez.
If I'm Lakeland in this timeout, I'll talk about taking our time with the serve like the Broncos do. You see the Broncos servers dribbling out a lot more than the Lakeland servers do.
And again, it just comes down to playing their own game, and that is definitely something the Broncos doing. Coach Miller absolutely stresses that. As we talked about in the JV game, she tells her club, guys, when you have the ball, you are serving when you are ready. Do not play to the other team's tempo. If you want to breathe and take an extra second or two, take that extra second or two.
Broncos taking a little more time in this timeout than Lakeland did. Actually getting every second of the timeout.
As Perez getting ready to serve again, Broncos on top 13-7 here in the opening set. And that was absolutely beautiful by Leroy to make sure that ball goes right back to the floor. 14-7. Perez will serve it up again. And a great kill there by Addison Walker. Or Walter, rather. It is now 14-8. Substitutions coming as Stella Lee will check back in, as will Ashley Logan for the Vikings. On the flip side for the Broncos, Felice will check in, and Perez will take a quick breath.
Logan taking her time with the serve.
That spike will just go long by Leroy. It's now 14-9. And Aiden, you're right. Logan taking her time serving that ball. Absolutely no need to rush as the score advances to 14-10. And a nice block in the net there by Blow. And just like that, Coach Miller has seen enough. She will call that timeout. So it's amazing how these timeouts go. Just a few minutes ago, the Broncos were on top 14-7. Lakeland calls a timeout. Now they've been on a roll. It is now 14-11.
Whatever was said in that Lakeland timeout must have worked.
And again, typical timeout by Miller. She doesn't say a lot. She lets her team go ahead and talk. So you heard Coach Miller say maybe 2 words and then more. Took the rest of the time to speak to the club. Logan getting ready to serve it away again. Broncos on top 14-11 here in the opening set in this best of 5 contest. And that one will go into the net. Broncos point 15-11.
Captain Cologne will take the serve for the Broncos. Oh, my bad, that was more. Oh.
A great tip gives the Vikings the point, and Coach Miller cannot believe that the call went that way. 15-12 as Valenti will check back in. Broncos trying to plead their case to no avail. That'll be a point for the Broncos, 16-12 now. Sarah Hernandez will take the serve. And a great unreturnable serve now, 17-12. And that one goes off of more and goes out of bounds. 17-13, Vikings get the ball back. Billion Jacobs will be set to serve. Captain Cologne checks back in, and Hernandez will take a rest. And that one lands in for an ace, 17-14. And that'll be a 4-touch for the Broncos. Point for the Vikings, 17-15 as we continue to go back and forth, which is exactly what you expect out of 2 undefeated clubs. Jacobs to serve. And the Vikings had that one perfectly scouted, 17-16. Just building that wall against the net for the quick tip back over. And Monge with the floater that goes 18-16 as Perez will check back in. As will Ongara. So sometimes it's not the hardest shot that gives you the point. It's just that one that just floats in and finds the perfect position. Zangaro getting ready to serve for the Broncos. That one will not be returned, 19-16. And another floater, this time by Perez, that finds the mark, 20-16 in the Broncos' favor. And Ngaro getting the ace there, 21-16. What a service game this has been for her. And another one that can't be returned, 22-16. And one thing we have seen with the Broncos this year versus last year, it seems to be a new player stepping up and taking a lead role. As just like that, the Vikings will be forced to call a timeout. Aiden, it seems like we're calling a brand new player's name over and over again as this season has progressed.
Definitely. Every night, someone steps up and fills the role. Brings energy, brings points.
And again, you just have that leadership when you have someone like Ongara, who is one of two sophomores on the team. So again, the future continues to look bright for this Broncos team. Granted, unlike last year, this year they are loaded with seniors, with Perez, with Colon, with Feliz, with Katie Hernandez. But you also have that strong junior class. You have Monge, you have Sarah Hernandez, Leroy, you have Moore, you have Sanchez, you have Villanueva Brown. So there is a lot of depth in this Broncos roster.
Ongaro will serve.
So first time over Perez, I'm going to take it nice and easy. Next one, I'm going to slam it home, 23-16. And Ongaro continues to be a force from the service line. And that one will go out. Vikings will get the serve, 23-17. Number of substitutions being made. As Waller will come in, as will Bataglau. As we wait to make sure the scorers table got each and every substitution. What a difference between the two clubs. While this is happening in the scorers table, the Vikings are all apart compared to the Broncos. They have pulled all of them together in the middle of the court, giving each other a pep talk, trying to get their heads back in after losing that last point. So a difference between the two clubs, you have that senior leadership there for the Broncos. But Lakeland Christian doesn't have any seniors on this varsity team. And another awesome floater by Perez. We've been calling her name all night tonight. Broncos will be serving for the first set, up 24-17. And what a block by Waller that got back over to give the Vikings the serve back. It is now 24-18. But it will be an uphill climb for the Vikings as the Broncos need one more point to take the first set. Ashley Logan to serve. And that one will fall in. Vikings get the point, 24-19. As Valenti gets the ball ready to serve. And that ball will end up going into the net, and the Broncos take the opening set. They take first blood. They're up 25-19. And that is exactly what the Broncos wanted to do. Establish that momentum early, establish that momentum often. It's amazing you had many swings happen in that first set, and it all came after key timeouts called by both coaches.
Great effort being put out by both teams tonight. You see players diving for the ball on both sides, making key plays for both sides. Great serve game coming from the Broncos and from the Vikings.
So we will pause. When we come back, we will have the second set here on the Broncos Broadcast Network. As we get ready for our second set, we take a look at our upcoming volleyball schedule. Next Wednesday, the ladies have their first away game. They travel to Santa Fe. And then on Thursday, they are back home in another tough test for them, going against Winter Haven. From the football side, football goes against Tenorock tomorrow night. Broncos trying to get revenge over what happened over the first home game in football history last year after having a lead over the Tenorock Titans, and the Titans were able to storm back and win the game in overtime. As we get ready for the second set, Broncos on top 1-0, winning that first set 25-19. Josh Garris here with Aiden Buller, and we thank you for joining us wherever you may be. 8:29 here on the East Coast in lovely Davenport, Florida. Sun has gone down, so it is nice to go outside. As it's now September 1st, but it's Florida, so it still feels like the middle of summer. As the officials gone around quickly checking all of our numbers out there, seeing who is starting this second set. As we were saying, so odd to see Autumn Moore again as Villobero. She was Villobero for the first two games against Sebring, but to see Captain Cologne in a regular white jersey is just something that I've only seen once in the entire time Cologne has played for the Broncos. Moore getting ready to serve, and second set is underway.
And just like that, the Broncos take a 1-0 lead in the second set.
Fernandez with the awesome tip there. Broncos just trying to keep that momentum going. As they do to score that second point, now up 2-0 here in the second set. And that one will not be able to return 3-0. So what a way to start this second set. As Moore is just holding court. Go ahead, Aiden.
Perfect serves coming out of Moore tonight.
As Blow is able to go ahead and get that over the net, Vikings will get the ball back. As Batagia getting ready to serve. Broncos fail to get it over in 3. It's now 3-2. And Battaglia will be ready to serve again. And the Vikings tie it up. We are 3-3. So back and forth, back and forth. That's exactly what we saw in the first set till the Broncos were able to pull away late in the first set. And again, just as advertised, when you have these two undefeated teams, this is what you expect. That one lands out of bounds. Broncos now on top 4-3 as Hernandez will take the serve. And a great wall of defense there by the Vikings. We are tied back up at 4. As you had both Blow and Adams there. Hernandez will go ahead and will take a rest as Captain Cologne checks back in. Mackenzie Ash to serve. And that one will sail out of bounds, 5-4. As Ungaro will check back in. So the Broncos, just like you saw in the JV game, continuing to circle and cycle these players in and out. And when you have a deep bench, as effective as they are, it can be extremely dangerous, keeping everyone fresh. Broncos ready to serve, up 5-4 here in the second set. Broncos up 1-0. And the Vikings tie it up 5-5. Back and forth we go, nip and tuck. As Elliott comes back in for the Vikings. Jacobs with libero for Vikings to serve it away. That tip by Perez will not stay in, 5-6. And the Vikings have their first lead of this second set. That one will go out Broncos point 6-6. That was actually the first lead since the Vikings were up 5-4 early on in the first set. So from that point, the Broncos just took off. Hernandez with the serve. Great attempt, great effort, but can't get it over. 7-6 Vikings serve. So a lot of heart and a lot of passion being played tonight by these ladies.
Definitely, you can see it.
Ashley Logan getting ready to serve. And that one, you had Waller tried to get it over, but she couldn't. We are tied back up at 7. Sanchez to get the serve. Cologne wanted to substitute out. She does, and here comes Hernandez. And net wrecking havoc on that serve. 8-7. Great serve there by Sanchez. And just like that, 9-7. Sanchez was the one that continued to get momentum going for the Broncos against the Hornets. And here she goes again tonight against the Vikings.
Definitely carrying over from that game.
Emerson Valenti Jr. for the Vikings to serve it away as the Broncos lead 9-8, up 1-0. And just like that, we are tied up at 9-9. And that was a serve right at Sanchez that she could not handle, and the Vikings retake the lead. It is now 10-9 in Lakeland Christian's favor.
Vikings fans starting to get rowdy up in here.
Coach Roundtree and Coach Miller getting their club back in check. And that'll be a point for the Broncos, and we are tied up 10-10. Natalie Adams will check in for the Vikings. And Valenti will take a rest after that service game.
Perez will take the serve for the Broncos.
And that one will sail along 10-11. Felice will check in for the Broncos. And Blow will go ahead and check in for the Vikings. Olivia Elliott sets to serve. Going to be a point for the Broncos. We are tied up 11-11. And here comes Moore to serve it. And the Vikings can't return, and Broncos getting the lead back. It is now 12-11. First lead for the Broncos since they were up 9-8. And a nice tip over by Hernandez. Broncos now up 13-11. And another one that can't be returned, and Moore is firing on all cylinders. Broncos up 14-11. Timeout called by the Vikings. And probably a very good time to call that timeout as momentum's starting to shift back toward the Broncos' favor.
Once the Broncos get momentum, it is hard to stop them, as we saw in the Haines City game on Tuesday night.
And again, sir, go ahead, Aiden. Go ahead.
Gaining momentum in the third set to close it out made it pretty easy for the Broncos.
And again, it's a different key player every night, it seems. And now Sanchez, this is now the second straight game where she has come up big. You said in that Haines City game, she took that momentum and turned it on its head late in that third set. And here we go again. She comes in to get the serve. We're tied 11-11. And now the Broncos are on top 14-11. So see if this timeout went ahead and messed with her rhythm at all and her momentum. Vikings choosing to go with a split set toward the net with 2 toward the far side, 1 toward the near side. And that'll be 4 hits. Point for the Broncos, 15-11. And that one will sail wide, 15-12. As Battaglio will check back in for the Vikings, as will Stella Lee. Battaglia to serve. And Manger with that ball that went right off of Natalie Adams. If Adams didn't touch it, there's a good chance that sails out of bounds. 16-12 in Broncos' favor. But that's just instinct alone, getting a hand up in that situation.
Hernandez will serve for the Broncos.
And a great serve that's unreturnable. Ash tried to get it, but the ball bounced the opposite way. 17-12 now. And that one can't get over. Broncos advancing their lead 18-12. Hernandez goes back to the service line again. And a double touch would be a point for the Vikings, 18-13. Quick substitution, Captain Cologne coming back in for the Broncos. On the flip side, Valenti will check back in for the Vikings. Mackenzie Ash to serve for the Vikings. Broncos getting the point, 19-13. We talked in the opening about how many aces Ash had. Well, the Broncos are making sure when she goes to the service line that she is not getting more than one opportunity to serve.
And Garo coming in, and she will also take the serve.
And that one cannot be returned, 20-13. Perez wanting to check in. She does, and Felice will take a rest. And that would be a point for the Vikings, 20-14. Quick substitution as Manger will come back in for the Broncos. Addison Waller for the Vikings to serve. And Perez spikes it, but is answered right back by Jacobs, 20-15. excellent net presence by both teams. Jacobs to serve. And a great tip in there by Elliott, 20-16. And just like that, the Broncos starting to see that momentum shifting the other way. Let's go ahead and let's call a timeout. So Aiden, if you're one of the Coach Millers, what are you telling their team to try to settle them down?
When we get the ball back, just take our time with the serves because you got to play at your own pace. They've been doing that the whole season. The young season, they've been taking their time when they serve.
That's when we've seen the Broncos were at their best last year when they took their time. They are at their best this year when they are taking their time. The Vikings are definitely trying to do a faster pace of play. That's the word I'm looking for, pace of play, than the Broncos want. And here come the JV volleyball team getting the crowd all fired up with their Let's Go Broncos flag. Of course, that's a spark plug for the JV team, Anderson. We saw what she did when she was on the court. And that ball will get trapped in the net. Broncos are getting the serve back, 21-16.
Hernandez will take the serve for the Broncos.
And that one, that's an awesome tip by Leroy. 22-16 now. And Hernandez into the net, 22-17.
More coming in.
It's Logan and Waller to check in for the Vikings. Logan will take the serve. She has had a few dominant service games tonight. And that one gets over and finds the court by Elliott, 22-17. Or 22-18, rather. Awesome tip in there by the Broncos by Leroy, 23-18. Hernandez will check back in. Captain Cologne to take a rest. And Sanchez with the ace in that back corner. That was dangerous. 24-18. Broncos will be serving for the second set. Just picture perfect placement there by Sanchez, and we have seen that so often this season. And just like last game, the serve will go back to the Vikings. Previous game, it was 24-17, and they got it to 24-19. See what happens in this set. There is 24-20. As Valenti just pushing the tempo. And that'll be a point for the Broncos, and the Broncos take the second set by a score of 25-20. So, Aiden, magic of those timeouts. Broncos start to lose momentum. Coach Miller calls that timeout, and we saw how the end of that second set turned out.
Definitely was a battle for them.
So we will go ahead, we will pause. When we come back, we will have the third set here on the Broncos Broadcasting Network. And we are back for the third set. Broncos on top 2-0. Broncos took the first set by a score of 25-19. Took the second set 25-20.
Captain Cologne back out there in a black jersey.
As Aiden just pointed out, Captain Cologne back as the libero for the Broncos for this third set. So both of these teams are undefeated. They did play a preseason match back in August, a best 2-out-of-3 set. The Broncos did win that one 2-0. So Broncos have yet to drop a set against the Vikings this year, or in the careers. Those are the first two times these two teams have faced off. As we get our rosters all situated, Captain Cologne getting her squad all fired up. As Battaglia gets ready behind the service line for the Vikings, getting ready to serve to begin this third set. And Manger getting that one in. Broncos quickly up 1-0 here in the third set. Captain Cologne going back to get the ball. She will serve it away. Back in her Libero black. That one finds the net. 2-0 Broncos. Beautiful serve by Captain Cologne. 3-0 Broncos. So it seems like the momentum that ended that second set has carried over. And of course, there's the Shigeris jinx right into the net. 3-1, Vikings will get the serve. Mackenzie Ash to serve. Hernandez spiking it home, 4-1. And again, it sounds cliche, but how often does this happen? You get a big point for your team. You get the reward by going behind that service line. Into the net, 4-2. Elliott will go ahead. She will check in for the Vikings. Blow will go ahead and will take a rest. Addison Waller to serve. And that'll be a point for the Broncos, extending their lead to 5-2. Manger waiting for the substitution, and here comes Ongaro. And Ongaro will be set to serve. Unreturnable, 6-2 Broncos.
Very great from the service line tonight.
And again, Ongaro just taking her time. No regard for the whistle. She'll serve when she is ready. And another one that's unreturnable. The rotation and the spin that she is able to put on the serve is unreal. And we have seen twice where the ball goes right off the Vikings and into the seats. That'll be a point for the Vikings, 7-3. Was that an overrule and they're going to give it to the Broncos? You had one official pointing one way, 1 point in the other. They'll give it to the Broncos. It's 8-2. And that one will sail out of play, 8-3. Some substitution as Manger will check back in. On the flip side, here comes Waller, and here comes Logan. Logan checks in, instantly gets the ball. She goes behind the service line. Great placement there by Valenti. 8-4 now. But definitely a lot of heart and hustle on the Broncos on that play. Logan set to serve. And that one will sail along, 9-4 Broncos. Substitutions as Hernandez checks on in. Leroy will also check in.
Hernandez will take the serve.
Broncos fail to get it over, 9-5.
Captain Cologne will come back in.
Valenti to serve for the Vikings. Right into the net, 10-5 Broncos.
Sanchez taking the serve for the Broncos.
And again, the last few games that the Broncos have played, when she has come up to that service line, she has advanced that score. And there is another ace. They will say that did land in, 11-5. Just picture perfect placement. Vikings are arguing the spot on the ball, but to no avail. Sanchez to serve again. And that'll be a point for the Vikings as Perez ends up kicking the ball, 11-6. Elliott to serve. Right into the net, 12-6. Broncos getting the ball back. Lillian Jacobs checks back in for the Vikings. Perez gets ready to serve. Broncos unable to advance at 12-7. Quick substitutions. Battaglia will check in, as will Stella Lee. On the flip side for the Broncos, Felice will check in and Perez will take a rest. Nice kill there by the Vikings, 12-8. As Battaglia gets the ball back, and she will serve it again. Manger unable to tip it over, 12-9 now. Picture perfect placement by Manger there, 13-9. As Hernandez will check back in, the Roar will take a rest.
Captain Cologne will take the serve.
Fortunately, right into the net for Captain Cologne. 13-10, Vikings getting the serve back. Mackenzie Ash, their leading acer to serve. She's their leading acer, and she leads the team in kills. Relatively quiet night so far for her tonight. 14-10 Broncos, and again, Ash on the service game. I don't think that she's had an opportunity to serve twice in a row tonight. And a great serve by Hernandez that cannot be returned. 15-10 now. And that will be short, 15-11. Elliott, she will check back in. Blow will take a rest. Lillian Jacobs to serve for the Vikings. And a great wall of defense there by the Vikings, advancing the score to 15-12. The Vikings were not going to be denied there. Sailing out of bounds, 16-12. Broncos with the serve back. Ungaro will check in. Perez will check in.
Ungaro will also take the serve.
Right off Valenti's bump, and that one sails out of bounds, 17-12. It's amazing to me because we've seen Ungaro get some picture placement. And the Vikings, the way that they're even playing this return, they are giving her a lot of open court. As they have one on the near side, two on the far side, and then three playing back. There is a lot of court in the middle there. And we have seen Ungaro able to get serves repeatedly in that area.
Great serving tonight from her.
So the Vikings calling the timeout. Broncos on top, 17-12, leading this one 2-0. Again, some broadcasting notes in case you are wondering, upcoming games. Tomorrow night, the boys football team varsity travels to Tanner Rock. Kickoff at 7:30. Your next volleyball game is Wednesday. That will be at Santa Fe. Your next home game is next Thursday as the Broncos host Winter Haven. Again, another tough game on the Broncos' schedule. Ungaro ready to serve it away. And that one will sail along, 17-13. Manger checks in. For the Vikings, Logan checks in. Waller checks in. And once again, Logan will take the ball and she will serve. Beautiful spike there by Manger off of Logan. 18-13 Broncos. Looks like Captain Cologne will go back to serve as Hernandez checks in. The row will check in. It'll actually be Hernandez that will serve. Awesome spike by Leroy there, 19-13.
A lot of emotion coming from the Broncos bench tonight.
And the bench definitely firing up the crowd. What an awesome play by Leroy there, 20-13. So it's going two ways. The Broncos bench firing up the crowd firing up the players. And that one won't be returned, 21-13, and Hernandez is having a heck of a service game now. And the Vikings will call a timeout, now down 21-13. So Aiden, if you're the Vikings, what are you telling your club to settle them in?
Just get the ball back and then take your serves and play at your own pace. It's really how it has to be. The Broncos are playing with so much power, emotion, and they're also playing at their own pace. So for the Vikings, they also need to be playing at their own pace to get the ball, to get the lead, to come back.
It's interesting when you see just how different teams play. The Broncos, they like that very slow pace. The Vikings prefer to go, go, go. Give me the ball, serve. Give me the ball, serve. And that's one thing we've seen out of Mackenzie Ash all year. When she is able to get in that service mind, give me the ball, ace. Give me the ball, ace. Give me the ball, ace. That's what we saw the other night.
Hernandez will serve for the Broncos.
Especially in that game against Discovery, the second game of the season for the Vikings. That's exactly what Ash did. Ace, give me the ball. Ace, give me the ball. Ace. And that one's going to drop in 21-14.
Captain Cologne coming in for the Broncos.
And Valenti will go ahead. She will serve. That's going to be a point by the Vikings. Great job there, not giving up on that last play, 21-15.
Vikings bench really showing a lot of emotion and support for their team tonight.
Trying to will their players on like the Broncos bench. And what a spike by Perez, 22-15. And who else? Here comes Sanchez to serve. And that'll be a point for the Broncos, 23-15. Broncos now 2 points away from remaining undefeated on the season. .316 rather. Be 23-17. Now, originally, the official closest to us did point to Davenport to give them that point. Elliott to serve. (23-18) as Elliott continues to get some excellent serves down. Getting the serve and then trusting her team to handle returns that come back from the Broncos. No question about that one by Leroy. Broncos will now be serving for the game. And here's Perez. Now here is Perez at her best, taking her time. Monjay with the spike, and that one will take it for the Broncos. Broncos will take this one 3-0. First set 25-19, second set 25-20, third set 25-18. And Aiden, it all came down to the Vikings shutting down Mackenzie Ash.
Great game from both of these two talented teams.
And again, it was that service game. Sanchez looked incredible behind that service line.
Broncos will remain undefeated on the season, going 3-0.
She said undefeated. They will travel Wednesday. They will go to Santa Fe. We will have the coverage next Thursday when the Broncos host Winter Haven, the next big test on the season. The executive producers of the Broncos Broadcasting Network, myself, John Shigaris, Mel Gables, and Alan Duget. For my broadcast partner,
Aiden Bullram.
I'm John Shigaris from Davenport, everyone. Good night.